Rujul, I think parallelly two systems are there. Can echoing it is.
Yeah,
So what?
Prabhu is muted.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhus and Matajis, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for joining our Gauranga Desh Yatra Friday morning program. From next week onwards, we are shifting our program from Friday to Sunday, being the last program on Friday as a public holiday. Today, we are very fortunate to have with us His Grace Ganga Prabhu. Prabhu is the disciple of His Holiness Chayapataka Swami Maharaj from Chita Mayapur. Currently, Prabhu is in Dubai, and Prabhu, we can hear from Prabhu the class from Srimad Bhagavatam from Prabhu, and the class is going to start by 9:30. So, request all the devotees, please stay with us till the end of the program. And today the MC will be Bhakta Rujul. Over to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhus, Matajis, and my dear friends. Dandavat Pranams. I, Rujul, today will be taking the lead on behalf of GDY. I welcome each and every one of you. I also request you all to stay till the end and encourage our devotees to enjoy our program. When Krishna came, he was actually present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and everyone saw him, but not everyone could understand him. So, to understand the Lord, serving Him is very important. Let us all join together to glorify our Supreme Lord and get His mercy. Let us start with the main Aarti for the deities. Aarti will be performed by His Grace Parameshwar Prema Prabhu and will be sung by Bhakta Srinivasagan Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Namo Shivaya Shantasthaya Hare Rama हरिनाम संकीर्तनम की
जय।
श्रील प्रभुपाद की
जय।
Thank you, Srinivasakan Prabhu, Shubda Sachi Mataji, and others for that divine aarti. I also thank His Grace.
भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोविनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, मधुरा धाम की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवदीप धाम की जय, मायापुर धाम की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय, अंध कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्रा की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तनम की जय। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. All glories to La Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Srinivasakan Prabhu, Shubda Sachi Mataji, and others for that divine aarti. I also thank His Grace Parameshwar Prema Prabhu for performing the aarti. Lord Narasimha Dev is an avatar of Lord Vishnu. He is worshipped in a half man and half lion form. Lord Vishnu has taken this incarnation many millennia before in order to kill the demon king Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was abusing and trying to murder his own devotee Prahlad simply because Prahlad worshipped Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Lord. Lord Narasimha appeared to destroy the demon and protect his innocent devotee Prahlad. He is known primarily as a great protector who specifically protects his devotees in times of need. Requesting Bhakta Adarsh to please take up the Narasimha Aarti.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Sri Narsimha Dev ki Jai. I thank Bhakta Adarsh for the wonderful Narsimha Aarti performed. I now over to you, Srirang Prabhu, for the next event.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for all the devotees for joining. Today, we are very fortunate to have with us His Grace Ganga Prabhu. Prabhu joined our Srila Prabhupada movement in the year 1979 in Kathmandu in Nepal. Prabhu born in Italy. He traveled India as tourist, where he had the great fortune to meet traveling Sankirtan devotees from Sridhar Mayapur. He then traveled with them all over India, Bangladesh, and Nepal for 8 years. Prabhu was also the temple president of Chennai from 1984 till 1991, and then came back to Sridhar Mayapur and served in different capacities. He was also involved in the construction of Srila Prabhupada Samadhi. He also had the great fortune to travel all over the world as bodyguard to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, who is the disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, and served as a coordinator for manifesting Panchatattva with His Grace Jananivas Prabhu. At the present, Prabhu is assisting with different projects like Mayapur Vrindavan Trust, and also traveling as an assistant to His Holiness Balaswami Maharaj. Prabhu is the husband of Her Grace Raseshwari Devidasi Mataji from GDY, who is a sister of His Holiness Bhakti Vinod Swami Maharaj from Coimbatore. They have 2 sons, one in London and the other son in Sridhar Mayapur, doing construction for the project called Neelachal near Jagannath Temple in Rajapur, Mayapur. So we are very fortunate with us, His Grace Ganga Prabhu. His Grace Ganga Prabhu ki jai. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bo. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining with us, and we can hear from Prabhuji Srimad Bhagavatam 3.5.10 onwards. So we are very fortunate to hear from you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so much. Welcome to Gauranga Desh Yatra. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhu, it is can you unmute?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Can you
Prabhuji.
hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji. Now it is.
Okay, thank you so much. I say I am very obliged to all the devotees of this yatra. I'm very glad to be with you in association of such wonderful devotees here who are working very hard and also inspiring a lot of people of this country to be connected with Lord Krishna. So this is the desire of the Acharya, this is the desire of Srila Prabhupada, this is the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who says in every town and village, my name will be heard. And amazingly, many people are coming from India, you know, they find their Krishna consciousness in foreign countries. When we are in India, we think, oh yeah, we know Krishna, yeah, Vrindavan, there's so many people that are very casual of taking up Krishna consciousness, but coming to work in a foreign country, it generates some kind of desire in the heart. Prabhuji, this needs translation or is just in English?
Just in English.
All right, so I can go on talking. I don't have to stop and you translate into any other language. So I feel very, very, very glad to be with you all. And today we will read from Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is third canto, chapter 5, text 10. Paravare Shram Bhagavan Bratani Shrutani Madhya Samukadavikramam Atpanamakshunla Sukavahanam Samrite Krishna Katamridagat. I read the translation. Oh my Lord, I have repeatedly heard about this higher and lower status of human society from the mouth of Vyasadeva. And I'm quite satiated with all this lesser subject matter and their happiness. They have not satisfied me with the nectar of the topic about Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Because people are very much interested in hearing social and historical presentation, Srila Vyasadeva has compiled many books such as Puranas and Mahabharatas. These books are reading matter for the mass of people, and they were compiled with a view to reviving their God consciousness, now forgotten in the conditional life of material existence. The real purpose of such literature is not so much to present topic of historical references, but to revive the people's sense of God consciousness. For example, Mahabharata is the history of the Battle of Kurukshetra, and common people read it because it is full of topic regarding the social, political, and economic problem of human society. But factually, the most important part of the Mahabharata is the Bhagavad-Gita, which is automatically taught to readers along with the historical narration of the Battle of Kurukshetra. Vidura explained to Maitreya his position of being fully satiated with the knowledge of mundane social and political topics and having no more interest in them. He was anxious to hear transcendental topics regarding Lord Sri Krishna, because there were insufficient topics directly concerning Krishna in the Purana and Mahabharatas, etc. He was not satisfied. He wanted to know more about Krishna. Krishna Katha, or topics regarding Krishna, are transcendental, and there is no satiation in hearing such topics. Bhagavad-Gita is important on account of its being Krishna Katha, or speeches delivered by Lord Krishna. The story of the Battle of Kurukshetra may be interesting for the mass of people, but to a person like Vidura, who is highly advanced in devotional service, only Krishna Katha and that which is dovetailed with Krishna Katha is interesting. Vidura wanted to hear everything from Maitreya, and so he inquired from him. But he desired that all topics be in relationship with Krishna. As fire is never satisfied in its consumption of firewood, so a pure devotee of the Lord never hears enough about Krishna. Historical events and other narration concerning social and political incidents all become transcendental as soon as they are in relationship with Krishna. That is the way to transform mundane things into spiritual identity. The whole world can be transformed into Vaikuntha if all worldly activities are dovetailed with Krishna Katha. There are two important Krishna Katha current in the world, Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad-Gita is Krishna Katha because it's spoken by Krishna, whereas Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna Katha because it's narrated about Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advised all his disciples to preach Krishna Katha all over the world without discrimination, because the transcendental value of Krishna Katha can purify one and all from material contamination. I read again the translation. Of my Lord, I have repeatedly heard about this higher and lower status of human society from the mouth of Vyasadeva, and I am quite satiated with all this lesser subject matter and their happiness. that have not satisfied me with the nectar of topics about Krishna. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritan Medantasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupada Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasattadestarine. Vanchakalpa Karubhyascha Kripasindhu Vyayevacha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. So this is a wonderful pastimes. We should inspire us to hear more and more Krishna Katha, because without hearing about the narration of the beautiful pastimes of Lord Krishna, then our life is spent in useless waste of time. So everybody's busy doing so many things and doing so many work, giving attention of their life in so many different ways. But here we can see that even Vyasadeva, who wrote these important books, Mahabharata and the Purana, even he's not satiated, is not satisfied. And then his guru, Narada Muni, come and tell him, well, you wrote so many important things, but you forgot to speak directly about the Supreme Personality of God, Sri Krishna. And so, equally, the devotees are very, very eager always to remember Krishna and to hear about Krishna. So the other day we were asking to His Holiness Banu Maharaj, in Vaikuntha and in the spiritual world, there are so many pastimes taking place every day. Every day Krishna gets up and the mother just takes care of him, and she fed him, she dressed him, then he goes to the cover boy and they come back. Apparently every day is the same day, like for us in the material world. But in the spiritual world, is ever fresh, is ever new, and Krishna's pastime is always slightly different every day, and it's always changing. So it's ever attractive. So this is the way that the Vaishnavas, the devotees, want to spend their time and their life. Although we may be busy working, although we may be doing so many important things, but then the devotee make such a schedule that the center of their life is Krishna. The attraction of the family is Krishna. They have a deity in their house and they are worshiping the deity, and they involve all the family members to be involved. At the same time, they offer all their food to Krishna, and they spend the evening or morning reading the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita and the scriptures. And there are so many activities for the children where they are engaged in storytelling, and the children, they color books. So it is very wonderful experience, even though many of us and many of Lord Chaitanya's associates were Grihastha. So we are in a family life where we have so many so many responsibility. But then because we put Krishna in the center of our life, everything becomes wonderful, everything becomes auspicious, everything becomes Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means the place where there is no anxiety. So material world is full of anxiety, Srila Prabhupada explained. Even the animal, the bird, if you notice, as soon as you go next to an animal, you run away. The bird, they're eating something, but they're always watchful to see somebody come and take me away. So the whole material experience from birth until people leave this planet or this body is full of anxiety. Because people, they don't know what is going to happen next. And this material world is dukkhalayam asaswatam. So this material world is full of suffering and full of anxiety. So how we can become free from anxiety? This is the process of Bhakti Yoga. Srila Prabhupada explained, to become free from anxiety, we have to be able to control our senses, we have to be able to control the mind. Then our senses and mind are controlled, we become peaceful, we become dhira. Dhira means a person who is not disturbed by the material perplexity. So this material world is full of perplexity. And it's full of fear. Fear of the unknown. What is going to happen to me tomorrow? I maybe lose a job. I maybe lose my family. Or maybe something happened to my children. So people are full of fear. But a person who is taking shelter of Krishna, then he has no more fear. Because he knows that my Lord will take care of me. Just like when we are children, I remember I was maybe 6 or 7 or 8 years old. I was in a supermarket with my uncle and my mother, and I had the hand of my uncle, but I was very attracted to the toys section. So I started to look at the car and start to look at the plastic motorbike and the Lego and the different things they had at the time. And I must have spent maybe 5 minutes, you know, watching, observing all this and looking and taking them in my hand. Then I put them back, and when I look up, I couldn't see my mother, I couldn't see my uncle. I look left, I look right, I look everywhere, and then I start crying. Oh, I'm lost. I didn't know how to go home. At the time, I didn't know the phone number. I didn't know anybody. Everybody look at me. Why this kid is crying? So then the lady at the supermarket say, "Hey, what's your name? What happened? Oh, I lost my mother. I lost my uncle. I don't know how to go home. I'm lost in this material world. I'm lost." I said, "No, come with me, come with me." She took me by hand and she told me, "What's your name?" Okay, and then she announced in the microphone my name. And then my mother and my uncle in a few minutes came there. My uncle gave me a smack and said, "You nonsense. Why you got lost? Because you're attracted to the toys. You're supposed to be with us." But when I saw my mother and I saw my uncle, I regained my life. I said, "Oh, without my mother, I cannot live. I'm a child. I get lost. I'm lost in the material world. I'm lost in this, so many things, cars and people." We were living in Rome at the time. So it's a big city. And so similarly, the living entity in the material world is lost in this different country, in different nation, in different planet, in different universe. They're lost because they lost that touch, the contact with the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. And they're wandering, we're wandering this material creation, trying to find, you know, solace, trying to find pleasure, trying to find happiness. But without the connection with Krishna, we feel a vacuum in our heart. We never feel satisfied. Because even though we have father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife, children, this and that, everybody's disappearing. We are all under the control of time. And we remember, we see the grandfather passing away, the uncle passing away. And when we see this, we feel great separation from them. We feel a vacuum in our heart. We feel sorrow, we cry. And we think, wow, everybody's gonna die. And then when I was a child, again, I asked my grandfather, "What is death? Why people die?" Say, "You're too young to find out about this. Just go and take some chocolate, take your bicycle, go enjoy life." So in the West, people especially, they don't like to talk about death because it's some unknown terrain which nobody knows and no one can explain. They say since time immemorial, people die, they're taking birth, they're dying, but what's the goal of life? What is this planets? What is this creation? What is the moon, the sun? Everything is happening, everything is working. Who is behind all this gigantic manifestation? So unfortunately, the scientists, they want us to believe that we are an accident on nature, that everything is created by a big bang. Everything happened by nothing, from nothing came everything. Everything is nothing. So some weird philosophy. We are a bunch of chemical. There is no responsibility. You can do whatever you want. You can become whatever you want. But this is a big illusion, very big illusion, that any sane person who think about this will realize that there is a supreme controller. We're all controlled by time. The seasons are coming. Today we have the nice rain here in Dubai. It's not raining for so many months, but there's a beautiful rain came today in the morning, and the clouds are there. So who is organizing all this? So just like a child sometime driving a father car, say, oh, daddy, daddy, look, the color of the light is changing from red to green, but I don't see anybody switching, pushing any button. And the father explained, oh, but there is somebody who has programmed this with the computer and the whole CDs directed, so different. Why this place is more, why this place is less? So there is some intelligence behind who is controlling everything. And to regain this knowledge, to understand that we are part of a bigger design, that we have a purpose in life. We are not just a bunch of chemicals who take birth, who grow, who reproduce themselves, who dwindle and die, and there is nothing after that. To add this knowledge will help tremendously us as conditioned soul to live in this material world. Because if you just imagine, you think that I'm just nothing, you're nothing, we're all nothing, we come from nothing, there is nothing after that. So why there is sin, why there is piety, why there is good, why there is bad, why people end up in jail and somebody's giving them gold medal. So it's not fair. It's not fair. Why he got the gold medal? Why that guy went to jail? Is God cruel? Is the government cruel? Is the police cruel? No, there is a supreme controller who is telling us this is right and this is wrong. This is high, this is low. So there are repercussions. Therefore, there is a supreme controller. And so to abide to the law of God, that is called religion. Now, animal, they are not religion. The fallen nature. We see in India so many cow and buffalo that cross with a red light. The police is not going there and taking the number plate. So I'm gonna give fine to this buffalo or to this cow. And sometimes they go with a stick and beat them, make them move. But animals are not accumulating any karma because they follow the intrinsic law of nature. When the tiger kills a deer in a forest, there's no karma involved because the food for the lion and the tiger, it is meat. But when we humans supposed to have higher intelligence, we commit sin by killing another animal and eating it, then we have to suffer the reaction. Now, most of the people in this material world are being kept in ignorance by so-called education, which Srila Prabhupada described them as slaughterhouse. Why slaughterhouse? Because people, they have been killed with the so-called intelligence, their sensitivity and their knowledge have been stolen by the illusion of thinking we are this body and you can do whatever you want. And you identify with the country where you're born, with the family you're born. And then you start to believe in something which we're not. So in that way, unless the devotee come and help us, to revive our Krishna consciousness, then we are lost in this material world perennially. millions, trillions of lifetime, millions and trillions of universe. There are 8,400,000 different species of life. We have been going through all the species. We were Brahma, Indra, we were ants, we were fish, we were bird, we were all the species. Now we come to become human. So what the Shastra say, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, now we can inquire on absolute truth. Ramanujacharya gave many explanations in this particular Vedanta Sutra, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now means now that we are human, now that we are conscious, now that we can choose, now that we can understand, now we can discriminate. So it gives many, many explanations. Atato Brahma Jigyasa, I believe 108 different explanations. So now we must inquire about the absolute truth. So Srila Prabhupada sometimes say in Bengal, there is a Keno Upanishad. Keno in Bengali means why. People go and ask, why this happened? Why that happened? What is this? What is that? Very interested people. So Keno. So why? So this is a sign of intelligence to ask questions. Why I'm going to die? Why I'm becoming old? Why I'm suffering? Why my hair is becoming white? Who is forcing upon me? The influence of time. So Krishna explained in the Bhagavad-Gita very nicely that if we are not able to understand him, then he will come to us at the moment of living this material world, this material body, and will come in the form of time. Will come in the form of time and take everything away. So we are all under the control of time. So coming back to how we can become happy, Srila Prabhupada is giving us the formula. Bhoktam yagyatapasyam sarvalokamayeshwara. To understand that, number one, I am a spirit soul, I am part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme, and my duty is to serve him as a part and parcel. And he's the supreme enjoyer, and he's the friend of everyone. So if we understand this, very simple, Krishna consciousness, we can become very happy. We cannot control this material nature. We cannot control the sun. We cannot control the moon. We cannot control anything in our body also. When the pressure comes, we have to go for the toilet. We cannot control that also. When we are hungry and thirsty, we need to drink water and we eat something. Otherwise, we'll fall sick. So, if we realize, if we accept that, yes, I'm a spirit soul, I'm serving of Krishna, and we surrender to Krishna, well, Krishna explained that if you surrender to me, I'll take care of you. Do not worry. Some devotee asked Srila Prabhupada how much time it takes to become free from all karma. He said 1 second. It takes you 1 second. You just surrender to Krishna. Say, Krishna, I'm yours from today. I follow your instruction. I'll become the servant of the servant, the servant. Krishna will take care of us. And devotee can feel that. Because Krishna gives you experience of his presence in the form of the holy name, in his presence in the form of devotees, in his presence in the form of prasada, in so many different ways. So we can perceive the Lord in our heart. And when we gain that gift of perception of Krishna, and we are connected with him through bhakti, through devotion, this is the greatest gift, this is the greatest pleasure. This is what we really want, life after life. This is what we've been looking for. And then we become joyous. And when we become joyous, we want to share the joy with other people. So we try to inspire other people to take up this simple Krishna conscious process, which is very, very simple. Srila Prabhupada explained Everybody's drinking water every day. So Krishna said, I am the test of water. So if we drink water every day and we think, my thirst is quenched. So, and by drinking this water, I can remember the Supreme Lord. Or whatever we see outside, there is nothing beyond the creation of the Lord. Even this big skyscraper we see here in Dubai, we can see that, the tallest building. It's all created by the energy of the Lord, because iron, steel, glass, sand, cement, both, nut, intelligence to build such a building, everything is coming from Him. And everything belongs to Him. The moment we start to think, oh, this is mine, this is yours, I want to take that, then there is fight, there's war. But just imagine if everybody would realize that Krishna is our Supreme Father. We may be calling Krishna, we may be calling Allah, we may be calling Jeva, we may be calling Buddha. We're talking about the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's no difference. We're talking about the same person. That supreme, beautiful, powerful, Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. That's Krishna. If we all take shelter of Krishna, then this material world will become Vaikuntha. There will be no more suffering. There will be no more anxiety. Because understanding this, we can share everything we have in this material world and live a perfect, peaceful life. Unfortunately, the United Nations, Srila Prabhupada said, they keep on adding flags. There is this United Nation. Yes, when big countries start to become smaller countries, and they start to fight each other, start to make their own currency, start to make their own army for protection, start to make their own plan to go to the moon, whatever. It's totally waste of time and energy. Srila Prabhupada said that there is 14 times amount of food which the human can consume in this planet. But there is no proper distribution. I know in some country when there is overproduction, for example, in Sicily, there is overproduction of oranges. Instead of putting them in the market and lower the price, they throw them in the ocean. So the price will not come down. It's the same thing in Spain with the tomato. It's the same thing in Sweden with other products. In Switzerland with the milk. So instead of having this vision of how can everybody be happy and satisfied and be peaceful, we are always bothered by material nature in some way or another, because that's the reaction of our deeds, of our misdeed. Instead of aligning our consciousness with Krishna and think, He is the Supreme Lord, let me offer everything to Him. He's so kind that, He leaves everything in the plate and we can eat it. Because for Him to eat, He can eat with His eyes. There's a beautiful pastime in this regard, which I like to share. There was a South Indian Brahmin who was very beautiful, offering every day to the deities, serving the deity very nicely. So he had to go for some other function in some other place. So he appointed his son. He said, okay, I teach you how to do the offering. You chant these mantras, you bring the plate to the Lord, and then no problem. This is a simple process. You can offer every day while I'm not there. So then the son started to do the offering, and then he closed his eyes, he put the Brahmin thread, he started to chant the mantras, everything. But when he opened his eyes, he see that all prasadam is there in the plate. And he's thinking, come on, Krishna, you had to eat, my father offer you every day, and you are eating now. Why you're not eating? Again, he closed his eyes, he chanted again. Or maybe I didn't chant properly my Gayatri mantra for offering you. He does Achaman Kap again, purifying himself and his mind. And then he opened his eyes, he said, Krishna, why you are not eating today? Don't be naughty, come on. You had to eat everything. Again, he tried so many times. In the end, he got a little upset, he took a stick. And he said, Krishna, better you eat, otherwise I'm going to beat you, because my father will reprimand me, and will not be happy with me if you don't eat. So then, the whole prasadam disappeared. And he brought the plate to the mother, and the mother is asking, where is the prasadam? He said, what do you mean, what is the prasadam? Krishna ate. Okay. Then the next day, again he offered. Again, the same thing happened. He took the stick. Said, Krishna, better you eat today. Don't be naughty. Again, it disappeared. And the mother's, where is the prasad? She's thinking that maybe my son is taking the plate somewhere behind the carpet and eating everything, but it's not possible for a small child to eat such a large amount of prasadam. So he does that for many days. When the father comes back, the mother speaks to the father and said, this is happening. I don't know. I cannot understand. And the father said, okay, let me check. He tell, okay, you do the offering today because I'm just going to take a bath in the river or come back. Yeah, and the child said, no problem. Offering every day. Krishna is eating very nicely. So again, he offered, he took the stick and said, Krishna, my father's come back, you eat. Again, the prasad disappeared. But the father was hiding behind the carton, he saw. He said, how is it possible? And then the father realized that because of the sincere devotion of his son, who is a child, Krishna reciprocates. So similarly, there is always a competition with Krishna and his devotees. The devotee always want to serve the Lord in so many different ways. And Krishna wants to always protect and serve the Vaishnavas in so many. There is always a competition going on. So the devotees are always constantly trying to please Krishna in so many different ways. And of course, Krishna explained, there is no one more dear to me than one who preaches my glories. And of course, sometimes we cannot just go and speak about Krishna, but we can distribute about books. We can give some prasadam to the people, and people become advanced just by taking that prasadam. Because the moment we take prasadam, we are offering a service to the Lord. So we become dear to the Lord. And then it's called Agyata Sukriti, unknowingly performing devotional service. Or just like here in this place, we are in an apartment, but we have Tulsi, we have the Didi, we have devotees. Somebody gets lost and goes 3 times around the building with his car. He's doing, performing a parikram. So unknowingly, he will be performing devotional service. So his spiritual bank account goes up. And then at one point he will become inquiring about Lord Krishna. The Spirit Lord, who is the Lord? What happened to me? What has happened after death? So all this is Krishna consciousness, the most wonderful, the most beautiful, the most happy. So Sukham Kartum Avyayam, this is most joyfully performed activity we can do in our life. And we chant, we dance, we take prasadam, we have festivals, we have flowers, we have dance, we have drama. So many beautiful activities to awaken and purify our consciousness, purifying our heart. We all have a heart disease. What is the heart disease? We are affected with lust in this material world. Lust does not necessarily mean only sex desire. Lust means attraction to the material objects. Could be a car, could be a motorbike, Could be a dress, could be jewelry, could be food, could be wanting to become famous, wanting to know more about material things, wonder. Srila Prabhupada explained that if we go around the temple 3 times, our wanderlust will disappear. What is wanderlust? Wanderlust is when we desire to go place and see things. But simply by doing a parikrama of the temple of Krishna, circumambulating him 3 times, or Tulsi Maharani, then our wanderlust, this desire to go and see things for our own personal enjoyment, disappear completely. I've been traveling for the last more than 40 years around the world. I've seen so many things. And after some time, you start to think, there is nothing really I want to see other than being with the devotees and chant to the holy name and hear Krishna Katha and see the beautiful deity of the Lord. This is the most beautiful and wonderful activity that we are attracted to. Who cares to go to New York? Who cares to go to Tokyo? Who cares to go to Rome? All places are places of misery. Abrahma bhuvana loka punara vartinorjuna mamupeda tukuntaya punna jamma na vidyate. Even if we go to Brahma Loka, the highest planet in this material creation, or we go to Indra Loka, where sense gratification is multiplied millions of times. Live long life. To attain sense enjoyment, we don't have to work, we just have to have desire and things will manifest for us. But these are all places where repeated birth and death take place. Brahma, Indra, Varuna, Surya, they are not free from anxiety. The demon come and take them, they throw them out of the place. Somebody come and steal their wives. Somebody's killing their children. They have a battlefield. This is going on, this material creation. It's going on everywhere. So an intelligent devotee thinks, I don't have any attraction here. I'm only here because Lord Krishna desired to utilize me in his service for propagating this Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, there's nothing I really desire. I don't really want to be here. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas and our Guru, we are here to perform the most pious activity, the most benevolent activity of inspiring other people to become happy in Krishna consciousness. So that is the goal of our life. And if we are blessed, but the Bhaktilata Bij, Brahmanya Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasada Pai, Bhaktilata Bij. Who is the devotee who gets that seed planted in his heart by other devotees, and the Bhaktilata will grow? That's the most fortunate devotees. And that by Krishna Shakti, by Bhakti Shakti, we can give the seed of devotional service to other people. We can awaken the people to a new reality where they can really become happy and satisfied in their life. So how important is for us to hear Krishna Katha? Srila Prabhupada spent most of his valuable time translating the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and many other books for our benefit. He said, don't think this is a business where you go and sell a book and make some money from the temple. No, I wrote this book for you. So by reading this book every single day, if you spend 1 hour reading Srila Prabhupada books, listening Srila Prabhupada lecture, listening to beautiful bhajan and kirtan, we can feel our life, we can feel our heart we can fill our mind with Krishna consciousness. I know in our life there are many small gaps when we drive the car, when we may be doing some cleaning the house or cooking. In every sphere of life, we can surround ourselves with transcendental sound. We have this wonderful object called phone nowadays. Before we used to have cassette tape recorder, then CD. Now the phone you can do everything. So you can fill up your phone with bhajan and kirtan for the most astonishing and wonderful singer of the world. And you can hear more than 7,000 lectures of Srila Prabhupada, and there are more than 10,000 lectures. You can hear the Bhagavatam. Okay, you are not trying to read, you can hear it. You go to Bhaktivedanta library, audio library, and you can just put it and then you hear Srila Prabhupada translation and purpose. So nowadays there is a lot of facility. If we really want to be Krishna conscious, we have to use some time management. So we can schedule our time and fill our gap with Krishna consciousness. There is no hard and fast rules. We can go in the morning to the bathroom, and while we shave or we are in the toilet, we can hear a lecture or a kirtan. So we can do whatever is necessary for us to keep Krishna always in our mind. Man mana bhavana bhaktyo madhya jivana maskuru. So Krishna says that if you fix your mind on me, you're never lost to me, I'm never lost to you. So how to train our mind to be Krishna consciousness? That is the process of Bhakti Yoga. And we can fix the problem of the heart. We can remove Bhakti means transform lust into prema. That's the mystical experience of Krishna consciousness, is that we become completely free from illusion, and knowledge automatically manifests in our heart. And then we become situated on the pure platform of devotional service, which means we have no other desire than to please Krishna. Whatever we do, externally may look the same thing. We're driving a car, cooking, we are cleaning, we're working, but our intention, our motivation is, how can I please Krishna? How can I please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? How can I please Srila Prabhupada and the Parampara? The Parampara empower us to perform devotional service once we are connected with devotion. So it is not difficult, it's a very easy process, but it takes some time to practice this Krishna consciousness. And as we perform in association of devotee, because remember, without association of devotees, we are lost. We become weak. And we lose our strength, spiritual strength. So everything has to be done in a gradual process, and everything will become auspicious, and everything can make us really, really, really happy. So I'd like to stop here, and I'd like to ask if there is any question, or if there is any comment, any advice. I'll be most obliged to receive from all of you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your wonderful and nectarian class today. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation and joining with us. And we are very fortunate to hear from you, Srimad Bhagavatam. Request any devotees, if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. 2-3 questions are okay, because actually Prabhu is supposed to leave to region school after this. So please.
We have 15 minutes, so no problem.
Yes.
I'll
Also,
be very glad to answer.
On your camera as well. Yes, Kabir Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees, Prabhuji and Mataji. Prabhuji, it was very wonderful lectures, and it's what nicely understood about Bhakti Yoga and how Krishna is really in this materialistic world, how fallen souls have been. We should worship and how to lead to that to go back to Godhead. Maharaj, Prabhuji, one questions, like many of them, they think that worshipping the demigods, okay, and worshipping doing the philanthropic activities like doing the charity, it's equivalent of doing service and seva to the god. But they think that they are good and they are whatever they are doing is best, okay. Eventually god will be pleased if we do the service to the needy people. And we go for Bhagavad-Gita, this think that okay, this is also good, but they also need to first satisfy their basic needs, then you can give it to them, the Bhagavad Gita book, to their needs. So what is that, how we can convince them, and how we can make them to realize that the importance of Lord Shri Krishna and Supreme Lord, Prabhuji?
Very important question. Very nice. Thank you so much for asking such a question. I think, yeah, the most important thing is that we cannot preach to people who are hungry. If somebody has empty stomach or has no proper facility to live, it's very difficult to preach to them. We can only help them and we can only feed them prasadam. Then only after we can try to inspire them to take up Krishna consciousness. But there is no hard and fast rule. Prabhupada said there is no material limitations. Whether we are rich or whether we are poor, we can take up to the chanting process of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Obviously, the Vaishnavas, they have great feeling for everybody, especially somebody suffering. So we want to help everybody. Jat karosi, jat snaji, jat jurosi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi konteya, takurushva, mad, arpanam. So we should do everything thinking that I'm not doing this, Krishna is doing this. Krishna wants to feed the devotees, Krishna wants to feed the poor, Krishna wants to give to the needy, the cloth, whatever they need. So we do everything as a charity on behalf of Lord Krishna, because Krishna is the owner of everything. We are all poor, we can say. Maybe we are very rich and having a Rolls Royce and Jaguar car or Tesla car, and they're very expensive. But ultimately, we have to leave everything behind. So the idea is the Vaishnava want to share with everybody. Now, the other aspect of people worshiping the demigod, yeah, okay, better than nothing, but ultimately we want to enlighten them to understand that the demigods are just like ministers of God. So they execute some work for the Lord, like Indra is in charge of the rain, the Surya is in charge of the light, and the sun and the heat. So worshiping them separated from the Supreme Personality of God, it is not a correct version. Srila Prabhupada is telling one story. In the village, there was a lady who was illiterate. So one of the neighbor's son became a police, become a minister. So in her mind, it was the top most people she knew was the police officer. So when this villager's son came and he was the minister, everybody glorified him. And she went and then she said, I give you my blessing and you become a police chief. But minister is much higher than police chief. But because she was in ignorance, so she didn't know what is the difference between minister, prime minister, regular minister, or chief of police, or mayor. So similarly, many people worship God and demigods all mixed up that are not very clear in understanding. So if we just try to explain to them the position of the hierarchy, which is there, described in the Bhagavad-Gita, and how is Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all the other demigods, there are his servants. We can worship the demigods if we first worship Krishna and then we offer the prasadam to the demigods also, that's not a problem. But to think that they are separate from the Lord, they're the controller of something, and we seek their blessing, that is material nature, is the demigods. They will give something, but then maybe the other 33 million demigods become offended. Why is not worshiping me? So there is always some contrast is there. So there is a beautiful video, it's called God and Demigods by Tamal Krishna Maharaj, done in 1985. So interesting video to see, where he clearly explains how the God and demigods. But sometimes we cannot push people if they're ready to receive this knowledge. Then we can inspire them. Sometimes we're over enthusiastic and we try to preach to people who are not ready, and they become complete distance from the Krishna conscious movement. So we have to be a little bit like doctor, understanding what is the disease, how much medicine can this person take. The best way is always to give Krishna Prasada, because Krishna Prasada is so wonderful. Then after some time, people take Prasada, they naturally start to inquire to you, okay, what about this? What are you doing? You're a very happy person. I see you chanting. I see you doing some activity. Explain to me more about Bhakti. So in this way, we can help people to grow and understand in Krishna consciousness. I hope this will satisfy your question.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Not only demigod worship, Prabhuji, I asked about that. Some people think that philanthropic activity, doing charity also is very important. It is equivalent of doing service to the Lord. So you can.
In some way it is, in some way it's not. See, it depends from our consciousness, because, for example, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura Maharaj, he was walking in somewhere in Calcutta, and some people came and they begged something from his disciple, who were all Grihastha, and they didn't give anything. So when he went to the mosque, to the temple, he chastised them and said that you as Grihastha, you're supposed to maintain all the people who are poor, or somebody who comes to you should not, neglect them. Because otherwise you start to think, this is my wealth, this is my money, I am the controller. If somebody come and ask you something and you can give, please give. Of course, it's important to make sure that we do charity on behalf of Lord Krishna, that we offer food, we offer Krishna Prasadam. So in that way, yes, it's very important to be a charitable person. But at the same time, there's charity in the mood of ignorance, mood of passion, and mood of goodness, and there's transcendental charity. So most of the time, what we do is that people want to give charity. Sometimes they give to the temple and they say, please don't mention my name, and the temple distribute to everybody. In the ancient time, the Brahmana are the system by which the king distributes his wealth. We know that Nanda Maharaj donate thousands of cows every day to different brahmanas. Now these brahmanas, they're not business people. They were not going to start to make a goshala and start to make paneer and ghee and start to sell and make money. No. The brahmana was always poor by choice. By his choice, he remained poor. So he used to take these cows and they distribute to everybody else. So Prabhupada explained in one lecture that even a brahmana received 10 lakh rupees today, tomorrow he has no money. He has distributed all his wealth to the needy people. So that way the wealth was distributed by the king through the brahmanas to all the population. So yeah, charity is very important, especially if we have surplus clothes, surplus shoes, surplus of everything. Krishna is giving us. So can we distribute this? Yes. Of course, we cannot distribute everything, but wherever we can distribute to the people in need. And that is also appreciated by the Lord. Does this satisfy your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Request Keshav Kamini Mataji, you raise your hand. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the question.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। प्रभु जी, मैं हिंदी में बोल पाऊंगी तो कोई भी होगा जो इंग्लिश ट्रांसलेट कर ले। सबसे पहले प्रभु जी ने बहुत अच्छी कथा कही और कवि रूपा माता जी का प्रश्न बहुत अच्छा था, बहुत सुंदर उत्तर दिया प्रभु जी ने। मेरा ये प्रश्न है कि भक्ति में बढ़ने के, भक्ति योग को समझने के लिए, श्रील प्रभुपाद जी को समझने के लिए, उनके पुस्तकों को अच्छे से अध्ययन करके अपने जीवन में उतारने के लिए हमें सबसे पहले चैंटिंग करना है, वैष्णव की सेवा करना है, जैसा कि श्रीला प्रभुपाद जी हमेशा बोलते हैं। तो हमें प्रभु जी से ये पूछना है कि हम इस चीज को कैसे इम्प्रूव करें, हमारी चैंटिंग कैसे बहुत अच्छी हो और हम वैष्णव की सेवा कैसे कर सके और भाव कैसा ला सके, ये सब हमें पूछना था प्रभु जी से। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, if you don't mind, you can translate. I know Hindi a little bit, but I maybe miss it. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Mataji was first of all very happy with the answer that you gave to Kavirupa Mataji, and she was very much inspired. And Mataji saying that to develop our bhakti, chanting and the service to the Vaishnavas are most important. And she is asking you, how do we develop it? How do we get the mood? How do we get the taste when we do? We are doing the services, but how do we get that constant taste and mood in which we are supposed to serve the Vaishnavas and do our chanting to develop our bhakti?
Very nice question, very important. And yeah, the mood is the most important thing, because externally we may serve the Vaishnava, or we may chant mechanically, but this is called Krishna consciousness. So consciousness has to be involved. The mood is that in my heart, I should feel these Vaishnavas, even the person who just came yesterday and joined the temple or joined our congregation, is such a wonderful jiva that Krishna has sent to us. So you can become enlightened by this association. So how can I serve them? Because by serving them, then Krishna will become happy. As we know, we cannot serve Krishna directly. He has Lakshmi Sahasrasata Sambrahma Sevyamanam. He has millions and millions and trillions of servants of Lakshmi Devi and gopis serving him. So who are we, small insignificant jivas? But if we serve the Vaishnava, then Krishna take notice. Oh, this person is serving the devotees who are very dear to me. So he becomes very happy and he gives blessing. Radharani gives blessing. Whoever serves the Vaishnava, Krishna becomes very happy. Radharani becomes very happy. Gaura becomes very happy. Jagannath becomes very happy. So the secret is that the mood, the bhav, is that by serving, we can serve more. And as we do the service, we want to think of all the possible way to please the Vaishnavas, so that the service is done with love. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. If our eyes are anointed with a salve of pure love, if we see that these devotees are the servant of the Parampara, the servant of the Acharya, the servant of Krishna, just imagine if today the Prime Minister will come to your home. How would you clean the house? How would you prepare with garlands? How would you make sure that first-class food will be ready for him? So just imagine the same way we want to serve Vaishnavas. We don't want to minimize them. They are very great souls. They are very dear to the Lord. They are part of the spiritual entourage. So when we serve with the mood of love, the devotee can feel that love. Because after all, we can get to eat anywhere. But somebody serve you with love, that love is what is felt in the heart of all the Vaishnavas. And they feel like reciprocating with you. They want to serve you. They want. My wife one time told me that, very funny. She said, see, if you give money to people, they think, oh, this guy is so stingy. He only gave me $100. He could have given me $1,000. If you give gold, you say, oh, this guy is so cheap. He just give me 1 kilo gold. He has millions of kilos of gold. He could have given me more. But if you feed a person and you feed him nicely with Krishna Prashadam, the person in the end will say, no, boss, I don't want any more. I'm completely satisfied. So this is the best service we can do for the Vaishnava, although we can serve them in so many ways, but we can feed them. We can cook with love, and we can offer with love. we can serve the Vaishnava with care and utmost love, and the devotee will receive the blessing from them, which will make us progress in our spiritual life. And the same thing with chanting. We are consciously chanting. We're thinking, please, Krishna, engage me in your service. Please, Krishna, keep me under your lotus feet. Let me become a servant of the servant of the servant. So that chanting is a prayer. It's not a mechanical Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama. Okay, I finished my round, throw the big bag, and I want to see you all day. No. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say we should chant all day, if we can. Sometimes it's difficult, but let's start gradual process. We chant 16 rounds with attention. We want to give that time to Krishna. This developing my relationship with Krishna means I'm chanting for your pleasure. My dear Lord, my dear Radharani, please bless me. That I can chant and I can remember you. I can remember your form. Through the sound vibration, I can be in association with you. But if we are chanting and we are reading the newspaper, we are chanting, we are watching the phone, we are chanting and watching television, we are distracted chanting. Of course, chanting is always auspicious, better than nothing. But there is namabhas. So we want to chant purely because the chanting is the time we give to Krishna, and the chanting is what is connecting us to the Lord. So let's wake up in the morning and give that 1.5 hours where we say, from today, I'm not going to do anything else but sitting in front of Tulsi, sitting in front of the deity, of the picture of the deity. If we can sit and chant, well and good. If we cannot, we fall asleep, we can walk. We can put a very soft bhajan behind so that the mood of our chant is inspired by the vibration and our mood becomes pleasing to the Lord. I hope this answers your question.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. May I ask a small query, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, thank you very much for joining us today, and in a heartful manner, you are explaining so nicely. Thank you very much. Prabhuji, you mentioned one point that the mystical process of Krishna consciousness, wherein the lust gets converted into bhakti. So my question is that in original format, this lust, greed, anger, they are actually offshoots of bhakti only, which they are actually, I mean, in original format, they are like offshoots of bhakti only.
I don't understand what is Ashud Bhakti means.
No, offshoots of bhakti means they are a part of bhakti only. They have come out of bhakti only. And
last time and greed, they're not part of bhakti. Everything can be engaged in devotional service. Srila Prabhupada said Hanuman was angry when he went to fight with Ravana. No, Kubja was lusty for Krishna. To some degree, we can engage everything in Krishna service, but as much as possible, what Krishna explained is lust, anger, and greed are 3 gates leading to hell. So naturally, if somebody doesn't come to the temple, want to destroy the temple, then we can become angry and fight with them. But as much as possible, we should try to avoid these 3 qualities, lust, anger, and greed. Because these are the quality of asuras. Asura Bhava. See, they say that Ravana is a very handsome person, but when he becomes angry, manifests furious, 10 heads, moods, and he becomes very, very ugly. So the idea is that if we have this, we all have our lust, anger, and greed, but then we should think, how can I become purified from lust, anger, and greed? How can I minimize that quality which do not belong to the soul? In the spiritual world, we see that when Krishna wants to fight, it may happen that somebody takes a different form and he goes and fights in the material world. There is no fight happening in Vaikuntha. There is no greed. There is no lust. In the spiritual world, this absence of this quality are there. So if we find this quality, we all have this quality in our heart. Because these are contamination. These are vasanas from previous life, which we have heredited for millions and trillions of lifetimes. It's a baggage we carry. So how we can get rid of this baggage? Because these are hindrances into our spiritual life. So the idea is that Chetodarpanamarjanam, how we can purify our heart, our mind by constant chanting of the holy name. By hearing and associating with the body, we can actually nullify or transform those qualities into Krishna Prema. So it's question of time. Prabhupada says sometimes you switch off the fan, the ceiling fan goes on moving even if the fan is switched off. So we can understand that due to previous karma, due to desire is like a GPS. Our desire is what is guiding our life. So basically, if our desire is to enjoy separate from the Lord, we remain in the material world. If our desire is to please Krishna and the Vaishnava and the Acharya and the Guru Parampara, then we are in a safe boat. So the idea is that how can I become purified and become free from this lust, anger, and greed? As I say, if somebody comes to the temple, I'll be the first one to fight with them. If somebody wants to come and destroy this temple, the deity, or beat the devotee, then we become ferocious like Hanuman. Then we fight with our life to protect the temple, protect the devotees. So we are not non-violent. We can become violent if necessity for pleasing Krishna. Otherwise, we are in neutral mode. We don't want to fight with anybody. We don't want to argue with anybody. We don't want to disturb anybody. We are not aggressive. We are peaceful. Dhira. Dhira means a person who can control his senses and mind. And the example of the personality is Lord Shiva, who was worshipped by Parvati, and he remained peaceful. So I hope this answers your question.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Any more questions there?
Sorry, Prabhu.
I say any more questions, otherwise we can close this session and we
Is
go
there
to the next program.
If there is any short question, it will be.
Short question, okay. Last one.
Is there anyone?
Yeah, there's a question on the chat. No. You said that you can hear.
Prabhuji, there is a question from Kantaperumal Prabhu and family. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. You said that we can hear kirtans while chanting. Can we lectures while chanting, Prabhuji? Can we, while doing chanting?
Yeah. See, we can put a soft bhajan, I say, but you see, when you want to hear a lecture and you chant at the same time, then you're not doing any of the both. You're not doing the right to the speaker because you are doing something else, and you're not chanting also. That is also fancy, actually. So Srila Prabhupada is giving the lecture, or let's say you go in a lecture and somebody who's chanting japa at the same time. So are you listening to your japa, or are you listening to the lecture? Of course, we have 2 ears, but we have only one head. We are not Brahma with 4 heads. So it's very difficult to be so multitask that we can chant and we can hear the lecture at the same time. We can drive the car at the same time. And speak also to our children. So it's not proper. I think the best way is to just listen to the lecture and chanting Hare Krishna. You can put a soft bhajan or soft Prabhupada chanting behind. That will inspire us to chant. Does this answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. They sent a message in the chat that they are okay with it.
We have to be practical, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. His Grace Ganga Prabhu ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now I request Ruju. Take care. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Srinam Prabhu. Now we shall proceed further. Krishna, out of his unlimited love for us, makes himself easily available to us in a portable form that we can literally carry on our tongue tip. Srila Prabhupada would say that when we chant the holy name, the Lord dances on our tongue. Chanting can make a huge difference in our own lives and also make a substantial difference in the world too. Chanting can not only make bad people good, it can also make good people better, helping them to become more focused and more selfless, thereby increasing their contribution to the world. So, let us hear about the holy name from Bhakta Yatiraj Prabhu. Over to you, Prabhu Yatiraj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible, Prabhu? Hare Krishna. Dandot
Yes,
pranams.
Prabhu.
Please accept my respectful obeisances to all the Prabhujis and Matajis. I thank the Yatra leaders for giving me this opportunity to talk about the holy name of the Lord in today's Namamrita session, though I am not qualified to speak about it. Mukam karoti vachalam pandum lankayate girim yat kripa tamham mande Sri Gurum Dinadarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. Last week, Her Grace Hemasundari Mataji explained very nicely the 2 points on the glories of the holy name of the Lord. The first one being the interrelationship between chanting the holy name and studying the scriptures. And the second point, even if one cannot read or understand the scriptures, he can still attain the perfection through chanting. Today we'll try and discuss 2 points. First being, one chants the holy name due to devotional service performed in previous lives. And the second point, anyone who chants the holy name is worthy of respect. One chants the holy name due to devotional service performed in previous lives. Only one who has worshipped Krishna for many births can chant the holy name. We shall take some verses from Bhagavad-Gita to understand this point. Lord Sri Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita 2.4 says, Neha Vikrama Nashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpam abhyasya dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though it is not finished completely. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. In the Padma Purana, it is stated, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is present only on the lips of a person who has for many births worshipped Vasudeva. Sri Krishna again tells in Bhagavad Gita, verse number 7.19, Bahunam Janmana Mante Jnanavan Mam Prapatyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlapaha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, and all that is, such a great soul is very rare. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, the living entity, while executing devotional service, after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of devotional service or spiritual realization, one may try to give up their attachment to material desires, and there could be also a little inclination towards impersonalism. But when one is further advanced, you can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute the devotional service. Let us look at Gajendra's story to substantiate this point. Devotional service performed in a previous life may lead one to the chanting of the holy name. The personality of Godhead appears personally immediately on the back of Garuda to deliver the elephant Gajendra, Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7.15. Anta Sarasyuru Balena Pade Grihito Grahena Yutapati Rambuja Hasta Artaha Aedamadi Purusha Kila Lokanata Tirthastravastravana Mangala Namadeya. The leader of the elephants, whose leg was attacked in a river by a crocodile of superior strength, was much aggrieved. Taking a lotus flower in his trunk, he addressed the Lord, saying, O original enjoyer, Lord of the universe, O deliverer, as famous as a place of pilgrimage, all are purified simply by hearing your holy name, which is worthy to be chanted. The leader of the elephants, Gajendra, was in a distress when he was attacked by the crocodile. The elephant is very powerful compared to the crocodile, but when the crocodile is in water, he is even more powerful than the elephant. Because the elephant Gajendra was a great devotee of the Lord in his previous birth, he was able to chant the holy name of the Lord by dint of his past good deeds. So every living entity is always distressed in this material world because this place is such that at every step one has to meet with some kind of distress or worries. But one who is supported by his past good deeds engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord. So those who are supported by impious acts cannot be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, even though they are distressed, also confirmed in Bhagavad-Gita 7.15. Namam duskrutino mudaha prapatyante naradamaha mayaya paharta jnana ashuram bhavam ashritaha. The miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Therefore, one chants the holy name only due to the devotional service they performed in their previous lives. Moving on to the second point in today's Namamrita, anyone who chants the holy name is worthy of respect. Srila Rupa Goswami in Sri Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction, verse number 5, as translated by Srila Prabhupada, reads as, one should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity, and one should associate with and faithfully serve the pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore advises that we should meet with the Vaishnavas in an appropriate way according to their particular status. He tells us how to deal with three types of devotees: the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The Kanishta Adhikari is a neophyte devotee who has received the Harinama initiation from the spiritual master and is trying to chant the holy name of Krishna. One should respect such a person within his mind as a Kanishta Vaishnava. A Madhyama Adhikari has received the spiritual initiation from the spiritual master and has been fully engaged by him in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The Madhyama Adhikari should be considered to be situated midway in devotional service. The Uttama Adhikari, or highest devotee, is one who is very advanced in devotional service. When Srila Satyaraja Khan, a great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, asked the Lord how a Vaishnava could be recognized, the Lord replied, Prabhu kahe yandra mukhe shuniye kabara Krishna nama se puja srestha sabakara. If one hears a person say even once the word Krishna, that person should be accepted as the best man out of the common group. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 15.106. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also explains in another verse, Atayeva Yandra Mukeyeka Krishna Nama Seita Vaishnava Kariha Tanhara Sammana. One who is interested in chanting the holy name of Krishna, or who by practice likes to chant the Krishna's names, should be accepted as a Vaishnava and offered respects as such, at least within one's mind. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 15.111. Srila Prabhupada quotes an example of the famous English musician George Harrison, who got attracted to chanting the holy names of Krishna. At his home, he offered respect to the pictures of Krishna and also to the pictures of Krishna consciousness. In all regards, he has a very high estimation for Krishna's name and Krishna's activities. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says one should respect him without any reservation. The conclusion is that anyone who is trying to advance in Krishna consciousness by regularly chanting the holy name should always be respected by the Vaishnavas. So the chanting of the holy names of Krishna is so sublime that if one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra carefully, avoiding all the 10 offenses, one can certainly be gradually elevated to the point of understanding that there is no difference between the holy name of the Lord and the Lord himself. When one fully engages in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one gradually realizes his own spiritual identity. Unless one faithfully chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Krishna does not reveal himself. Sevan Mukehi Jivvadu Swayam Eva Spurat Yataha Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.234. We cannot realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead by any artificial means. We must engage faithfully in the service of the Lord. Such service begins with the tongue, Sevan Mukehi Jivvadu, which means that we should always chant the holy names of the Lord and accept Krishna Prasada. We should not chant or accept anything else. When this process is faithfully established, the Supreme Lord reveals himself to the devotee. Hare Krishna. I once again thank His Grace Sri Ranga Krishna Prabhu and Her Grace Gopikana Gita Mataji for giving me this wonderful opportunity to speak about the glories of the Lord. I beg your pardon if I made any mistakes while speaking here. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Etiraj Prabhu. That was really relishing to hear so much about the significance of the holy name. Srila Prabhupada's greatest desire was to spread the chanting of the holy name all over the world. Out of his love for us, Krishna manifests himself as his holy name. The Padma Puran declares, Abhinatvam Nama Namino. There is no difference between the name of God and God himself. So the holy name is no ordinary sound. It is God himself manifesting as sound. Thus, the holy name can make a huge difference in our lives. With this in our mind and the divine mood, let us chant the holy name now. I welcome Bhakta Munuswami Prabhu to chant the holy name. Over to you, Munuswami Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam. Thank you very much for giving this seva. Let me read out this tenor offenses. The 10 offenses of the holy name. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Number 2. To consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. 3rd. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. 6. To give some interpretations to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitful activities, karma kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Let us offer our humble obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill all desires and are full of compassion for the fallen conditional souls. Vancha kalpatarubhyacha krupa sindhubhya evacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Let us start our chanting. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Munuswami Prabhu. Bhakti Yoga recommends Kirtan as the most effective means for awakening the soul's blissful nature and reconnecting with the Lord. Such reawakening returns the successful practitioner to the spiritual world. Although Kirtan is an eternal practice in Bhakti Yoga, it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who brought Kirtan to the masses 500 years ago. After hearing the glories of the holy name and chanting them, let us now prepare our mind to relish the beautiful mantra, not only from mind but through our senses, heart, and use our whole body in singing and dancing heart-touching Kirtan by His Grace Madan Mohan Prabhu and team. Over to you, Madan Mohan Prabhu and team.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare
हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्रील प्रभुपाद की गीता केवल परमानंद।
Hari Hari Bol. Wonderful and ecstatic Kirtan that was. Thank you, Madan Mohan Prabhu and team. We wish that the holy name continues like this throughout the day. But I know many of you are already filled with lots of services and deity service. We will leave you to it and continue the spiritual mood throughout your day. Today being the last day of the year, I am very happy to take all your blessings, not only for me, but for all our devotee children, youth and Balotsav children from all the Vaishnavas assembled here. I also thank each and every one of you being here with us throughout the program and request you all to continue to be with us in the future also. Wishing you all an advanced, very happy New Year 2022. Thank you everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Ujjwal and all other devotees for taking up the services today. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. So, thank you all for joining today. And today will be the last Friday program. Now, everybody knows that from next Sunday onwards, we have continued our Friday, and instead of Friday, we are moving to Sunday. The holidays are changed from Friday to Sunday. So continue normal Friday, instead of normal Friday programs, all our Friday, that is programs will be on Sunday. So request all the devotees, please accordingly. We have few announcements, prayers and everything is required. So initially we will, yesterday, okay. So let us chant for the good health and long life for His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj and other Maharaj and all other devotees for their good health and long life, and they can continue their services to please Guru and Krishna. So let us chant the 3 times for all these devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Thank you. We have few more announcements. Yesterday was the initiation ceremony for
Initiation day
for His Grace Madan Mohan Prabhu and family, then Satya Achyuta Prabhu family, then Ravi Hamsa Prabhu family, Radhikapati Prabhu,
Prabhu, and Brahminical
Initiation for Hari Leela Prabhu and Tigrila Mataji. So let us chant 3 times for all these wonderful devotees for this spiritual advancement, and we need prayers from all the devotees for her Grace Kulatipika Mataji for her speedy recovery. So please continue your prayers so that Mataji can come to the normal very soon. We need prayers for His Grace Bhagavan Balaji Prabhu's niece, Ananya. He is hospitalized due to dengue fever. She has high fever and her blood parity is low. So we need prayers for her speedy recovery. Continue your prayers. Yes, we need prayers for the Seva Parayana Prabhu. So Prabhu is okay now. Currently, he is okay. So need prayers so that he will recover very fast. And His Grace Swarna Gopal Prabhu's family is traveling tomorrow. So need prayers for all the safe trip. Mataji is traveling to Cochin and the children are going to Bangalore. So need prayers that the result comes negative and they are able to travel smoothly to their respective places.